Before you assume she doesn't care, listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you might quietly rewrite every relationship mistake you've ever made. When a woman ignores you, your chest tightens, your mind races, and you tell yourself the story you've been trained to believe. If she wanted you, she'd show it. Pause. Breathe. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist and as someone who has watched thousands of men misread this exact moment. If this resonates, subscribe and like now, because what follows will change how you move forever. Ignoring is not absence. Sometimes it is restraint. When a woman is falling hard, her nervous system doesn't relax. It alarms. Attraction triggers self-protection. She becomes suddenly aware of her vulnerability, and distance becomes the safest way to regulate it. So she slows her replies, shortens her sentences, and pulls back just enough to test whether her feelings control her or she controls them. Men mistake this for indifference and panic, but panic is the wrong response. Curiosity is the correct one. Here is the sign men miss. She ignores you, but she watches. Your stories get viewed. Your posts get noticed. Your name still lives in her awareness. Silence with attention is not rejection. It is emotional containment. She is holding herself back because moving forward feels dangerous. Not to you, to her sense of balance. When a woman truly does not care, she disappears entirely. No monitoring, no checking, no quiet presence. You were taught to chase noise, not patterns. The pattern here is tension. Desire plus fear equals distance. That distance is not a wall. It's a breath being held. If you rush it, she exhales away from you. If you remain grounded, you become the place she can finally release into. This is where masculine strength actually matters. Not persuasion, not pursuit, emotional steadiness. When you don't flinch at the silence, you communicate safety without a word. You show her that her feelings won't overwhelm you, and that is deeply attractive at a biological level. Calm men invite closeness because they signal survival, stability, and choice. So if she ignores you but still orbits your presence, don't collapse inward. Stand still. Let her nervous system settle. Attraction doesn't always run toward you. Sometimes it circles first. Trust this space, hold your frame, and you'll feel her return when safety replaces fear inside her body again. When a woman ignores you but suddenly mirrors you, that's where the truth sharpens. You post less, she goes quiet. You step back, she steps closer in subtle ways. This is not coincidence. This is attunement. When emotions intensify, humans unconsciously synchronize with the person who triggers them. She's not avoiding you. She's calibrating herself to you, watching how you move, how you regulate, how you respond to uncertainty. Men think attraction is loud. Real attraction is observant. Here's what most men never realize. A woman falling hard becomes hyper-aware of power balance. If she feels herself leaning too far emotionally, she instinctively pulls back to restore equilibrium. Ignoring you is not about control over you, it's about control over herself. Her silence is a stabilizer. She is asking an internal question. Can I want him without losing myself? The answer depends on how you behave during this pause. If you chase, explain, or demand clarity, you answer that question for her in the wrong way. You show her that emotions run you, that pressure follows desire. Her nervous system tightens and attraction collapses. But if you remain centered, she feels something rare, emotional permission. She senses that wanting you doesn't mean chaos, that liking you doesn't mean losing control, that safety is possible. Another overlooked sign appears in timing. She ignores you, yet reappears at moments when your energy shifts, when you're focused, when you're moving forward, when you stop waiting. This isn't manipulation, it's resonance. Attraction responds to grounded momentum. When your life is full, you become less threatening and more magnetic. She feels invited instead of pulled. Listen carefully now. The goal is not to decode her behavior obsessively. The goal is to become the kind of man whose steadiness makes decoding unnecessary. A woman who is falling doesn't want to be chased. She wants to arrive without fear. Silence is the corridor she walks through to reach that point. Your job is not to fill the silence, it's to hold it, to show through your calm that closeness won't cost her freedom, that intimacy with you expands her rather than consumes her. When she senses that, the ignoring stops naturally, not because you demanded it, but because she no longer needs distance to feel safe. Attraction matures in quiet, desire deepens where pressure is absent, and when she finally steps forward, it won't be hesitant. It will feel intentional, grounded, and unmistakably real. Now I want you to notice something subtle, because this is where emotionally intelligent men separate themselves from everyone else. When a woman ignores you but becomes unusually consistent later, that swing is not confusion, it is resolution. She has crossed an internal threshold. Before that moment, she was regulating fear. After it, she is acting from clarity. Most men misinterpret the quiet phase as failure and never stay present long enough to witness the shift. During her silence, she is not empty. She is full of internal dialogue, replaying conversations, reevaluating moments, measuring how she felt around you versus how she feels away from you. The absence is information. When she realizes the absence feels heavier than the risk, attraction consolidates. That is when ignoring turns into initiative. Here's the sign you were never taught to look for. She begins to create openings instead of chasing. Small questions, soft re-engagements, neutral excuses to reconnect. This is how a woman tests safety without exposing vulnerability too fast. If you respond with warmth and composure, not urgency, you confirm her decision. If you flood her with intensity, you reopen the fear loop. Understand this deeply. Attraction for women is not about constant stimulation. It's about emotional coherence. Does being with you feel easier than being without you? Does your presence settle her or spike her anxiety? Silence helps her answer that question. Men who can tolerate that silence without self-betrayal become unforgettable. This is where your internal work matters. If her ignoring triggers insecurity, resentment, or a need to perform, she feels it immediately, not logically, nervously. Her body responds before her mind. But if her distance triggers reflection, self-focus, and grounded movement forward, she senses alignment. Attraction grows in environments where both people feel sovereign. You are not being tested to see how much you care. You are being tested to see how well you can hold yourself. Emotional strength is not loud, it's stable, and stability is intoxicating when feelings run deep. So when she returns with softness after distance, don't interrogate the past. Meet her in the present. Show her that connection with you doesn't come with emotional penalties, that liking you doesn't mean losing autonomy. When you do that, her attraction stops fluctuating and starts rooting. And once it roots, it doesn't need silence anymore. It moves toward consistency, closeness, and choice, because fear no longer has a reason to lead. There is a moment most men rush through without realizing its importance. When a woman ignores you but still reacts emotionally to your absence, that reaction is the clearest proof of attachment forming. You don't see it directly, but you feel it in the shift. Her tone changes, her energy softens, her responses when they come carry more weight. This isn't accidental. Emotional investment always leaks through behavior before it's admitted consciously. Here's the psychological truth. When feelings deepen, a woman's identity feels momentarily destabilized. Independence has kept her safe. Desire threatens that structure. Ignoring you becomes a way to preserve self-concept while negotiating closeness. She's not playing games. She's managing an internal reorganization. The stronger the pull, the more carefully she moves. Men often sabotage this phase by demanding reassurance or trying to regain control. Control kills polarity. Attraction requires tension, not pressure. When you remain emotionally self-contained, you allow tension to breathe. That breathing space is where desire matures into longing. Notice this sign carefully. She remembers details you never repeated. She references moments you thought were insignificant. Even while distant, her mind is close. Memory follows importance. When someone occupies cognitive space, attachment is already underway. Ignoring doesn't erase that. It intensifies it by contrast. Another quiet indicator appears in her boundaries. When she's falling, her boundaries don't disappear. They refine. She becomes more selective, not more available. That selectivity is not rejection, it's investment management. She's deciding where to place emotional energy sustainably. Men who respect this become trusted. Men who challenge it become exhausting. What you must do here is simple but difficult. Stay present without pushing. Respond without over-explaining. Show interest without urgency. This balance communicates emotional literacy. It tells her you understand depth without needing to control it. And that understanding lowers her guard more than any compliment ever could. Attraction is not built by proving worth. It's built by demonstrating capacity. Capacity for silence, capacity for steadiness, capacity for emotional containment. When she senses you can hold complexity without collapsing, desire relaxes into closeness. If she ignores you but still emotionally responds to your presence, don't force clarity. Clarity is coming. Let her nervous system finish the work it started. When it does, the distance dissolves naturally, and what replaces it is not confusion, but intentional connection grounded in trust and choice. Here is where the pattern becomes undeniable. When a woman ignores you but becomes protective of her access to you, something significant has shifted. She may not reach out often, but when she does, she wants your attention undivided. She notices when your energy is elsewhere. She subtly reacts when she feels replaced or deprioritized. This is not entitlement. This is attachment awakening. Psychologically, this happens when emotional exclusivity begins forming before conscious commitment. She hasn't labeled her feelings yet, but her nervous system already has. Ignoring you was about managing desire. Protectiveness is about preserving it. She doesn't want to rush forward, but she also doesn't want to lose her place in your world. That tension creates a quiet intensity most men misread as mixed signals. Understand this clearly. Indifference does not produce jealousy. Indifference does not produce emotional response. Only investment does. If she truly didn't care, your absence would register as neutral. But when she notices shifts in your availability, her internal alarm activates, not because she wants control, but because her emotional ground has started to include you. This is where your discipline matters more than ever. Many men, sensing this shift, either withdraw completely to regain power or overstep to secure certainty. Both are mistakes. Power does not come from disappearance, and security does not come from pressure. Power comes from consistency without attachment, from showing you are present by choice, not by need. Another sign appears in how she speaks about time. She references future moments casually, not plans, not promises, just continuity. Next time, eventually, one day. These phrases slip out when the mind has already included you in its narrative. She may still be guarded, but her subconscious is no longer debating your relevance. If you respond to this phase with grounded warmth, something profound happens. Her fear loses its function. Ignoring you no longer protects her. Distance no longer stabilizes her emotions. And slowly, without announcement, her behavior shifts toward availability, not because you won her over, but because she no longer feels she has to defend herself from wanting you. This is where men either elevate the connection or sabotage it. Elevation comes from patience, emotional restraint, and self-respect. Sabotage comes from rushing the emotional conclusion before she has finished the internal journey. Let her arrive. Let her choose. When a woman falls hard in a healthy way, she doesn't collapse forward. She steps forward deliberately. And when she does, it's not fragile. It's anchored. Now listen closely, because this is the phase where truth replaces guessing. When a woman ignores you but starts revealing parts of herself she doesn't share easily, the emotional door is already open. Vulnerability does not appear without trust, and trust does not form without attachment. She may still pace the connection slowly, but what she shares becomes deeper, more personal, more real. This happens because attraction that matures begins to seek grounding. Desire alone is unstable. It excites, but it doesn't secure. When feelings grow, a woman looks for emotional anchoring. She wants to know if closeness with you is safe, not just physically, but psychologically. So she offers pieces of her inner world carefully, selectively, watching how you hold them. Men often misunderstand this moment. They think vulnerability is an invitation to fix, reassure, or intensify. It's not. It's an invitation to witness. When you listen without correcting, without minimizing, without turning the focus back to yourself, you demonstrate emotional maturity. That maturity is rare, and rarity magnifies attraction. Notice how her silence changes now. It's no longer distant, it's thoughtful. She doesn't ignore impulsively, she pauses intentionally. This is integration. She's aligning emotion with judgment. Her system is asking, can I build something here without losing stability? Your responses are the data. If you react calmly, respect her pace, and remain self-directed, she feels relief. Relief is powerful. Relief tells the nervous system it can stop guarding. And when guarding stops, connection flows naturally. This is why emotionally regulated men create depth without effort. They don't push for closeness. They make closeness feel safe. Another sign emerges here. She seeks your perspective, not advice, but insight. She wants to know how you see things, how you think, how you process. This is intimacy forming at the cognitive level. Attraction that includes respect becomes durable. It moves beyond chemistry into alignment. Your role is not to secure her feelings. Your role is to remain congruent, speak honestly, act consistently. Let your words and behavior match. Inconsistency revives fear. Consistency dissolves it. When a woman reaches this stage, ignoring you is no longer about avoidance. It's about balance, and balance is temporary. As trust solidifies, the need for distance fades. What replaces it is presence that feels chosen, not forced. And when she finally steps fully toward you, it won't feel dramatic. It will feel calm, natural, certain, because the falling already happened quietly, inside the space you were strong enough to hold.